Remember how they used to say America runs on Dunkin'? Well, Dunkin' runs on energy. And in this video, I am breaking down a case study of 35 plus Dunkin' Donuts from a single franchise operator that we helped, and we helped them save $35,000 a year without spending any money in less than 90 days without installing solar. Let's jump over to the studio and I'll show you the exact process on how we did it.
The most interesting part of this deal isn't the savings that we came to, it's the process. Unless you own a portfolio of real estate, it's hard to conceptualize the nuance of having an effective energy strategy across multiple locations. You could do a single retrofit on one building, but that doesn't take care of the building across town. So here's what works instead. Using a single energy strategy that rolls all the way up across every single location. And that's why community solar is so beneficial. Let me set this down, because what we're doing is taking every single location and improving operating profit across all of them. Here's what didn't work. Assuming that we could take all 40 plus locations and put them into a single deal, we had to go through and do our energy audit. Some rate classes were too big to fit into the community solar projects we were sourcing, so we had to leave 5 of them out, put 35 of them in, and then make the deal work. The real problem we had to solve wasn't actually about energy, and in fact, it hardly ever is. It's about solving for data. Franchise owners often don't have centralized utility data. Bills go to different addresses, different contacts, sometimes different names. The reason these deals are so complicated to do in the first place and why franchise owners hate to try to do them themselves is simply being organized. We worked with their strategic partner who's helping them with their energy procurement. We stuck it into our systems and we were able to immediately organize all of the data in a simple way that allowed us to put the deal together. So we start with clean data, but once we have that, we have to go through a simple process. First is all about account mapping. We're essentially cataloging all 35 locations that qualified, running through 12 months of billing data, and essentially capturing what the annual spending is across all of those accounts. This allows us to size a community solar subscription. During this, we're doing the eligibility screening, which allows us to see these 5 that did not qualify because their demand charges were too high, which qualifies them as an anchor in New York. And this portfolio we were filling was mass market or residential/small businesses. If you're in the New York market and your demand is above 25, you automatically qualify as an anchor tenant. So we had to throw those 5 accounts out. From there, we're essentially taking the total subscription size that we built and matching it to available solar projects. Our job is to keep the entire community solar rollout under one roof, working with one developer and one asset manager so all of their billing is streamlined, everything makes sense, and it's a headache-free experience. This was simple because we were able to take all 35 locations and do them all at once so that this customer will see savings in 2026 without having to wait and without having to do a phased rollout. Some subscription deals that we have done, some community solar rollouts with Fortune 500 company as an example, we had to enroll hundreds of locations and that took us time. We had to phase different subscriptions in at different times. But in this case, it was simply just a sign, save, and they got all of them done at once. Let me tell you about a small detail that actually made a huge impact. And this is something that could have killed the deal. In New York State, and I've talked about this before on my YouTube videos, there is legislation that is actively changing. The old community solar program was called New York Sun. The new community solar program is run by the utility. The difference is how you subscribe. You can no longer traditionally subscribe to these utility-controlled projects because now the national grids of the world will decide where the billing credits go. This means if you're a large energy user or a homeowner or a small business, you cannot traditionally subscribe to these assets on your own, and you have to hope and pray that the utility would send you a bill credit. What we're seeing in the New York market is a massive constraint on capacity because there are only so many of these traditional New York Sun projects left. And that means that there are only so much savings remaining before everything gets switched over. So that means we had to get creative on this deal. And what we ended up doing was talking to some of our developers, figuring out what was available from some of these old projects from churn, meaning people move, businesses close, arrangements are made where people cancel their community solar subscription because maybe they leave town. And essentially, there is now room on available solar projects. After talking to our developer, we found enough churn in one portfolio to take these 35 locations and slot them in. And so not only were we able to help them with community solar, but they were able to access immediate savings because these projects we put them on were already live. They were already energized. They were already producing bill credits. So after a billing cycle or 2, allowing community solar to locate to their utility account, they're able to instantly find savings. And this is why it's so important to work with experienced teams who have the right relationships to actually slide you to the front of the line, because in capacity constrained markets, you're going to need help accessing these available savings because one day they will be gone. So let me bring this back together. Very simply, we took 35 Dunkin locations, upstate New York. They were able to capture $35,000 a year in savings. Zero CapEx, zero installation, zero utility changes. But the takeaway isn't the number. It's about the process and how we actually executed. Multi-location deals require a deeper playbook. They require more complex thinking. And so you have to map accounts, screen eligibility by territory, sequence the subscriptions in the right way to get them go at the right time, and catch the small details before they become big problems. We've built that playbook. Over the last 8 years, our team has unlocked access to over $50 million in future energy savings, and that's why large energy users want to work with Community Solar Authority to make sure the job gets done right. We run this playbook for every franchise, every portfolio, every multi-site organization that comes through our door. If you're managing energy costs across multiple locations and you haven't looked at community solar yet, you're leaving money on the table every single month. If you want to check it out, you can head over to our new website, communitysolarauthority.com, and you can book a call to get started. You can also find me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/Dakota Malone. We are here to answer any of your questions. We will be speaking live in Southern Illinois at the iGen conference in April, so come check us out. The event is free, and we will be educating community colleges and higher education institutions on community solar. That aside, you can check out our podcast on Spotify, Sustainability Strategies by Community Solar Authority. I just recently interviewed the Green Power Connections team manager over at ComEd, which is a Northern Illinois utility, on the subject of community solar and how it helps large energy users. Appreciate you guys tuning into this video, and we will catch you on the next one.